All right, I got it. Are you excited?
I'm excited.
Okay. All right. Hey, everybody. We have the most exciting gift for you. We have a present for you.
So we have recently discovered, we've been asking lots of resellers, we've been doing polls on our community page if you've taken part of those, and we have realized that a vast majority of resellers are part-time resellers who are working, 10, 15 hours a week, but then also have the desire to go full-time, to transition to being a full-time reseller.
So we reached out to one of the most prominent resellers out there that went from part-time to full-time reselling, and we wanted to pick his brain a little bit about how he did it, what his thought process and strategy was, so that we could come back and share that with you. So without further ado, we want to welcome you, Josh, from Harry Tornado. His link is down in the description below, so you can check out his channel. He is chock full of information, and so yes, welcome. So Josh, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background. What got you into reselling to begin with?
For sure. So my name's Josh. I go by Harry Tornado on YouTube. I started reselling about 16, 17 months ago, October of 2018. And I had always liked thrifting. I had a history of flipping things on Facebook, but I didn't want to get into eBay because of fear of shipping and just, I felt like there was a lot that goes into eBay that I didn't know, which was correct. My fears were validated, but it turned out to be not as bad as I thought it was. So I started flipping, a few things. I listed like 4 or 5 things and did some YouTube search, and then I found Rally Roots and learned a lot from them. And I was like, hey, if they can do it, I can do it. So I started a YouTube channel about it. Actually, I started my YouTube channel before I was even reselling. Starting a channel is something I'd wanted to do for 15 years or so. So I finally just did it, and I realized that making random vlog videos or whatever when nobody knows who you are on the internet is not a great way to grow. So I was like, okay, reselling is fun. I like making money. It seems to be a niche, whatever you want to call it on YouTube. So I'm like, all right, I'll just make my channel all about reselling. And I made my first reselling video February of 2019. And now 1 year later, I've grown to 26,000 subscribers.
It's crazy, man. I remember watching you when you had like 500 subscribers. And it's crazy.
Yeah,
so it's awesome, man.
It's living a dream, man, literally. Like, I just never expected this to happen at all, and it's wonderful. The fact, I talked about it in a recent video, like the fact that I, went out on a whim and decided to go full-time after I lost my job, and not only have I replaced my income from that, but I've almost quadrupled it. It's absolutely insane. And YouTube's such great passive income. It's the videos that I'm putting the work in and making today are going to make me money forever, like at some point, even a few cents, like 40 years, if I'm still making, $10 a month from one of these videos, I think that's incredible,
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. And I know that you were kind of sort of doing it part-time and moved into this full-time, not just with YouTube, but also like you're considered a full-time reseller. So I'm really interested to hear, what was your process with that? Like, how did you transition and allocate your hours? What was your strategy there?
Sure. So when I was laid off from my job at the time, I had been part-time reselling for, I guess about a year, but maybe a little bit less than a year, maybe 10 months or so. And at that time, I had about 250 active listings. I was making $700-800 a month in profit, which was good for part-time. But trying to make that transition to full-time, I knew something had to change. I think what made me decide to do it is I felt like I could do so much better. Like at the time, I was doing maybe 8 to 10 hours a week in it. I'm like, if I'm doing 8 to 10 hours a week in this and I'm making $700 a month, I know I can do more than that. I love doing the work. I have no problem putting in the time. And now I have an extra 40 hours a week freed up that nothing else to do, So I just decided to go for it. I don't really know if I had a plan at first, at least. I was just like, I'll just try. Like, that's what I told my wife. I'm like, I lost my job in August 18th of 2019. So it was the perfect time to lose your job and start full-time reselling because it's right at the beginning of Q4. So I think, I think everything just fell into place. My wife actually got a raise the about 2 weeks before I got laid off. I got monetized on YouTube like 3 days before I got laid off. And then I got laid off the very beginning of Q4. So the stars just aligned. I think everything was meant to be.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Like all those little factors just kind of lined up. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love stories like that.
Yeah. So I know you probably learned, like, you worked a career job. I say career job. This is a career job, but I think you know what I mean. Where you had scheduled hours to be there, and then you had all of this freedom that you were part-time working 8 to 10 hours a week, and then you no longer had a time clock telling you that you needed to be at work at a certain time and that you can leave at a certain time. So how did you manage the overwhelming amount of freedom that you inherited?
You know, that can be either a very good thing or a very bad thing. It really depends on how motivated you are as a person. Naturally, I'm very lazy and I'm not very motivated unless I'm passionate about something. So I used to be in insurance sales, so that's something that requires self-motivation, and I was not passionate about it, which is why I was not successful as an insurance salesman. But when I'm doing reselling in YouTube, I just kind of lose track of time. You know, obviously I'm working a lot. People you got to keep track of your time, make sure you're making money. I'm like, I'm making money and it doesn't feel like work. So I don't keep track of my time. You know, I have the thing, you know, wake up in the morning and the first thing I want to do is look at my eBay and YouTube, you know, see what's going on. Then usually the last thing I want to do before I go to bed is look at that. I don't think that's healthy. You know, I try to focus on family and spiritual side of things before that, but I have that natural desire in me to look at that. Whereas when I was working insurance, I didn't start thinking about it until about 30 minutes after I clocked in, and I didn't stop thinking about it until, you know, like I stopped thinking right when I clocked out. You know, I could care less about the job when I wasn't there. And I think that's how most people are. Like, unless I never understood the phrase of like a workaholic. I'm like, who could be addicted to work? Like, dude, just clock out and go home. Like, but then it turns out when you do stuff you love and you're making a significant amount of money, you know, working for yourself and providing for your family, it's fun. But again, you have to be self-motivated. A lot of times, you know, you see people that get fired or laid off or whatever, and then they try to do reselling and they're not successful because they don't have the ability to discipline themselves and make sure they're listing 10 to 15 things a day. You know, you're not going to be a full-time reseller if you're just listing 3 thrift store items every 3 or 4 days. So it takes work. It's not easy. It is fun, for me at least, but it's not easy.
So what is your strategy now? Like, I know when you were part-time, there wasn't as much of a need to list. I'm sure you probably had some listing goals of how many items that you tried to list each week. What about now? Like, do you have goals? Do you just get up and just list however many you can? Or do you have like a roadmap that you try to follow?
For sure. So at that, when I got laid off, I didn't really have any goals because it wasn't a life or death situation. It was just fun, you know. So I was listing maybe 3 things a day for 3 days a week. It wasn't a big deal. And as I grew, I still had goals in mind. I would be like, okay, today I'm going to list 40 things, and I would list 8, and I'd be exhausted. I'm like, all right, something's got to change. So. Yeah, exactly. So I have a video planned in the next couple weeks about how to avoid burnout when it comes to listing. And I think one of the most important things is stop sourcing things that you hate listing. I hate listing clothing. And when I started, like most resellers, I was doing a lot of clothing because it's super easy to find. It's usually pretty easy to make money on. It just takes a long time to sell. But I just kept sourcing. And I walked into my garage one day and I had like a 6-foot tall stack of clothes. I'm like, I don't want to list this. Like, I know there's money in here, but I have no desire to do that. So I wholesaled some off to Ryan over at Rally Roots. I sold some mystery boxes to some viewers. And I just decided that, like, you know, I like hard goods and shoes. So, you know, I'm still picking up clothing occasionally if it's something really cool or something I'll buy it if I know I can list it immediately and I'm excited about listing it. But I'm not excited about listing Ralph Lauren polo shirts that I buy for $4 and sell for $7. You know, that's just, you got to make sure that you don't get lost in the sourcing. And I think that happens to a lot of resellers. They just focus on the buying and the finding of the deals, and then they end up with a storage unit filled of junk that they have no desire to list.
Yeah.
See, I'm loving this theme that I'm hearing from you, which is basically to do, what sets your soul on fire. To find the thing in there that you just have a joy for, that you are motivated to do. And really, it seems like a key success factor, especially when you're wanting to do this for a living to support you and your family, to have that thing that you're excited to do. And so I really wanted to point that out because I really am loving that theme that I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
It really depends on your business model, but for me, I don't do wholesale. I don't have any replenishables. Everything I sell is just thrift store and garage sale finds. So if your business model is based on that, and my goal on eBay is to make about $50,000 a year. So to do that, I feel like you should probably list between 10 and 15 things a day, at least 5 days a week, which doesn't sound like that much, but it is when you factor in like the prep time and everything like that. So my goal going forward is about 10 things a day, 5 days a week. So 50 items a week, which is, you want to set, anytime you're setting goals, you want to do something that's obtainable, like not something impossible. I see people, I'm going to list 500 things this week. Like, no, you're not. You're going to list 3 and then give up. So you want to set a goal that's attainable and something that you can do, but also something that challenges you. And I think for me, about 10 items a day is where if I was only reselling, I didn't have YouTube to worry about or anything like that, you could maybe do 20 or 30 things a day, especially if you think of a workday as 8 hours. If you can't list 20 things in 8 hours, like you probably shouldn't be a reseller. But again, if you're sourcing things that you like and you enjoy listing, hitting that 10 to 15 item a day mark shouldn't be an issue for you.
Awesome. So what would full-time Josh tell part-time Josh from back in August? What are some lessons that you would try to teach yourself?
So I don't know. One of the best things about reselling is that even if you make mistakes, like it's very hard to make a mistake that actually costs you money. Occasionally you might sell something for break even or maybe lose $1 or $2, but as far as like creating a business and risking things, like I don't think I've ever lost money on a situation. Eventually I've either broken even or made money somewhere down the road. So luckily I didn't make any terrible decisions like buying Amazon return pallets or anything like that. But I don't know. I feel like I guess I wish I wouldn't have bought so much stuff. I fell into that trap in that phase of just buying things, like getting addicted to thrifting and sourcing every day, and especially at the bins, like finding stuff for 50 cents you could sell for $10. Like, oh, that's a great deal. Look at that ROI. But then, you got to clean it, so it's
that dopamine hit. Yeah, it's that dopamine hit from the find of the treasure hunt.
I read a book recently called Atomic Habits, and it was talking about like dopamine and how it affects our decisions. And pretty much every situation that involves like that hit of dopamine, like the anticipation of it is what we enjoy. Like once you obtain whatever you want, it's all downhill from there. So like when you're at the thrift store and you're looking for stuff, that's when it's exciting. And then you find it and you're like, oh yeah. And then you get it home and then you're like, oh, and then it sits in your death pile for a year. And then you're like, oh, that. And then you just redonate it. So I think it helps to be conscious of that. Like know that the hunt is exciting, but you have to have some forethought and think about how you're going to feel about that item once it gets home and once it's in your death pile. I have what I call the 3 P's of sourcing, which is your profit. Make sure that the first thing you want to make sure is the profit. I'm not going to pay $5 for something if it has sold comps for $10. That's doubling your money, but it's not worth my time. Second P is prep. Like how much prep time is this going to take? Does it need cleaning? Does it need testing? Do I need to go buy accessories for it? Whatever. And then the third P is packing. If it's going to sell, if I'm going to make $25 off of it, that looks good. If it doesn't take much time to prep, that looks good. But if it's a big speaker system or something that I'm going to have to go to Lowe's and get 3 boxes for and use a bunch of packing peanuts and stuff, and I'm going to sell it for $50, it's probably not worth my time. So I'd like to keep track of the 3 Ps in my mind whenever I'm sourcing new items.
That's really good. I like that.
Yeah. You sound like, I think you were eavesdropping. I was making a video earlier today, and it just said all that. So,
yeah,
awesome.
It's really it's a lot of reselling is just common sense knowledge. It's not anything fancy. Like I do my coaching calls and I tell people before we start, I'm like, everything I know about reselling, I have learned from other resellers. I was not born with any special talents or abilities or knowledge that have made me a better reseller or a better YouTuber or anything like that. I just researched and studied and watched videos. There's a lot of free information out there.
So this is actually a question that I've been really sitting on and thinking about, and I'd love to get your input on it. And it's regarding mindsets. You know, what mindset changes did you have to go through to go from part-time to full-time? You know, how did you have to change your way of thinking?
That's a very good question. I'm not sure if it was like a conscious decision. I think it's just when you go all in and make the decision to try reselling full-time and make that your sole source of income, if your mindset is wrong, you're not going to make money. Like it just, you naturally make changes daily to become a better reseller. You have to, I kind of like to take a step back and look at everything. Like I look at my office, I look at the garage and just see like, what can I change about my systems to be a better reseller? And just constant daily adjustments to my mindset. Like, I forget what it's called, but it's some Japanese thing where they take every process of a business or a system or something like that and break it down into as many steps as possible. And they say, okay, if we take this one action and break it into 30 steps and we can improve each step by 1%, that will be an overall 30% improvement in our system processes for whatever this action is. So I like to, I don't know, every so often I'll just look at everything. I'm like, what have I been doing over the last week or month or so? And I try to break it down into as many steps as possible and look and find gaps, like find where I'm experiencing some energy loss or why am I getting burned out on listing. And, I feel like a lot of people when they get discouraged, they just stop or take a break and then they start doing the same thing over again. But next time you get burnt out and you take a break, just look at your processes and try to make those adjustments to your mindset. See what's causing you the headache. I think if you really want to be a full-time reseller and you're doing it right, you should never be burnt out. Like, I mean, as long as you're not trying to list 50 things a day, I think it's very possible to be a successful full-time reseller and enjoy every single second of it. So if you're not, just take a step back, breathe, and check your mindset. Make sure everything is. I don't know. You just want. I feel like you should enjoy every step of the process. Whatever step of the process you don't enjoy, look at it and see. Try to figure out ways to make it more enjoyable for you. Make it more, less likely for you to become burnout. I guess that's my mindset. Like as long as I'm enjoying my work, it doesn't feel like work, and so I can keep doing it. If ever I don't enjoy something, that's when I have to take a step back and adjust my mindset a little bit. But again, it's just when it's your job, when it's basically a life or death situation, like you have to keep your mindset focused. And so yeah, that was a good question.
I really love that answer. I'm sitting here like, well, now I should go back and break my stuff down into 30. Like I'm about to go do that. That's my homework. That's really good.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name too. It's evading me. But I know what you're talking about. So
yeah, it was in that book. The book I read, it's Atomic Habits. I don't remember the author, but it's a great book. It's on Audible. I listened to it twice. Audible is great because I hate reading, but I can listen to stuff all day long. So when I'm photographing and stuff like that, I'm just listening to audiobooks at like 1.75 times speed, and you can read like 3 books a week like that.
That's awesome.
So one last question before we get into rapid fire, which we didn't tell you about.
Okay.
Surprise!
I'm excited.
Is what is the number one tip that you would give to that reseller, that part-time reseller that is thinking about giving up and quitting?
Quitting reselling or quitting their job to become a full-time reseller?
Quitting reselling. Like they're just like, they know it'll work, but for whatever reason they have struggled to make it work and they're just having a hard time with it in their life.
For sure. Well, to be honest, reselling isn't for everyone. I have had a lot of comments like on my videos or people saying that like, oh, you are creating so much competition and you're going to ruin the market for resellers. But I've had people I've coached in real life. One of the guys at my church, He was a teenager, and we went to the thrift store, and I showed him exactly, the type of things to buy. He bought a GPS for like $4 and sold it for like $100, like 2 or 3 days later, and never went back, never did it again. I'm like, why is this? Like, why would somebody your very first time you try this business and you have a successful sale, turning $4 into $100, you would think that would motivate anybody to keep doing it. And I just think some people just don't care. It's like, it's the idea of reselling is easy, like buying things at thrift stores or yard sales or wholesale or whatever and selling it on eBay. Like, yeah, you buy something for one price and sell it for a higher price. But there's a lot of work that goes into it behind the scenes that you don't see on YouTube channels. I can't film every part of my business and show you guys exactly what it's like. So, first and foremost, it's not for everybody. If you feel like you're spinning your wheels, maybe you're better suited for a corporate job. It's some people, that's how they thrive. They thrive in an environment where they have a boss and they have somebody, kind of guiding them through it. It may just be your personality. Otherwise, if you truly feel like an entrepreneur and you feel like this is the type of business that you want to do and you're just not feeling successful, I would probably look at what you're listing. I see a lot of people that are listing anything they could get their hands on. They're listing just random tchotchkes from the 70s, and it's been listed for 3 days, and they don't know why it hasn't sold for $300 yet. I'm like, you need to focus on things that are selling. Go to eBay and just type in items, type in 70s collectibles, and then search sold comps and see what 70s collectibles are actually selling, because chances are yours aren't. If you've had stuff listed in your store for more than 6 months, it's either the price is too high or nobody wants it. And that's not bad. I've had stuff in my store now that's been listed for over a year. I just don't feel like taking it out. So it's not saying you're a bad reseller, but if that's what's getting you bogged down, you really need to think about what you're selling. You want to sell things that people want. It's not about what you like. I feel like a lot of resellers sell stuff that they like, and sometimes you might like weird stuff. I don't know. It's not a bad thing, but this one guy has an eBay store, and I think all he sells is stamps. And I don't know what his sell-through rate is, pretty low, like less than 1%, but he has like 7,000 stamps, So that's something that isn't going to sell every day, but that's what he likes and it works for him. So whatever. I don't know if he's a full-time reseller, but if you want to be full-time, you really need to focus on your sell-through rate, getting things in, getting things out, making a little profit, and it's a numbers game. And I don't think you're going to get there selling random, tchotchkes and one-offs and stuff like that. So that's just my opinion. You might can get there. Who knows? You go to a yard sale and people have their boutique section, all the stuff they think is valuable, and it's overpriced. It's priced higher than what you could get on eBay. But then they got a box of junk that is basically free, and it's like an old Nintendo with a bunch of vintage games and stuff that they think is worthless. And so you have to get out of that mindset about what you think is valuable and look at the market overall. Like, what you think doesn't matter. I just talked about in a recent video, somebody bought a stuffed fox for me for $70. I'm like, I would never pay $70 for a stuffed fox. I think that's silly. But what I think doesn't matter. You have to look at the market. If there's a market for $70 stuffed foxes, then you better be sourcing $70 stuffed foxes,
Yeah. It's what we call a hobbyist reseller. Hobbyist resellers do things, they sell things that they enjoy and like, but not really so much what people want.
Which is fine.
And sometimes that's good. If you're selling things that you like and enjoy and collect already, then you have a very good idea of what the market value of that item should be. So that might be good, but if there's only 10 people that collect the stuff you buy and sell, then the chances of you selling some of that stuff to one of those other 9 people is very low.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the people. I've got 2,500 listings, but I'm only selling one item a day. I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry.
They're all Beanie Babies.
So rapid fire. You know what that is?
Okay. I have an idea. Quick questions, quick answers.
Backstreet Boys are in sync.
Backstreet Boys.
Grape or strawberry jelly?
Grape.
Okay, cool. We can be friends.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Oh, we can't be friends.
What's your favorite color?
Blue, I guess. I don't know. I don't really have one.
Yeah.
Blue's okay. I mean, I'm a fan of purple, but blue's a acceptable answer.
What's your favorite dish?
Like food dish? Like
I guess that was a real specific.
that's a good question. I like chicken parmesan a lot. That's pretty good.
What's your favorite movie?
Forrest Gump is probably one of my all-time favorite movies, but my recent favorite movie is actually Frozen 2. That's a very good movie. You guys should watch it if you haven't.
If reselling in YouTube was not an option, what would you do with your life if you could choose anything?
Oh man. That's a good question. I don't know. I like being outdoors. I guess it'd be cool to be like a park ranger or something like that. Just hanging out, making sure people don't tear up the wilderness.
Okay, that's a good answer. I like that.
Yeah. All right, Harry Tornado, everybody. Like we said earlier, we have put his link down in the description, and we greatly appreciate your time. And it was amazing. I know I found it useful, and I'm going to go back and put some of that things into practice myself.
If you are not subscribed to his channel, you absolutely need to. He's got chock full of really good information. Joe and I watch him on the regular. So yes, we thank you so much, Josh, for being on our channel with us. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure.
And yeah, until next time, peace.